Okay, so we're here on inland. Haven't seen this map in a little while. Smiga, Yellow Trunks Egyptian player once again, having downed FF and Easy as a yellow Egyptian player already. This community challenge up against Ares, who is certainly well renowned. Ares is even going to go for a barracks, which is an interesting pick because he'd know what the map is. He actually ended up hosting, so he'd definitely be aware of what map it is. It's one thing I'll give Ares, as much as there is a bit of a running joke about him being a very static macro player, on water maps like this he tends to actually open spears or really quick age 3 or, you know, fast warship. Like, there's a real mix of builds he will opt for on water maps. Smiga actually does play quite a get to end game, or get to age 2, get to age 3 style as well. So maybe Ares is just trying to unsettle him a bit, getting a bit of early pressure on, because he might be aware of how Smiga approached this matchup last game. So Ares is actually going to ignore checking the water for the moment. Well, actually, he might be bringing his scout over to have a look. Is he going to notice? No, so he won't see that Smiga's gone for the dock, which means he's probably not going to be able to deal critical damage to it if you can't get there ASAP. But in saying that, you're probably best off pushing your opponent off the hunt first, because you're instantly taking away that 1.3 food gather rate per second, forcing him back to the berries. And especially if they've invested in hunting dogs, it can be quite painful. Yeah, he's even catching the fisherman there. So he did end up checking that with the later spears. So, with the scout first, I think. Take out the storehouse. Just, you know, if Smiga wants to get back on this hunt, because there's, you know, been so little food taken off it, it's definitely worth getting back over here. So, taking that out does set him back 50 wood. I think Smiga's content to just go 2 fishing boats, try and get the age up here, and go towards second town centre. He can possibly even go up to a 3rd fishing ship just to make this easier to repair through, and ultimately be able to gather even more food, because now he's got to put a lot more, or at least a little bit more, onto the berries for the time being. Because especially if he's only got 4 on the berries and hasn't got picker's gloves, it can be quite tough to actually sustain the villagers. Oh, he's cancelled that 3rd one. I mean, I think if he had have gone for a 3rd one, it makes it easy to repair through or try and kill off here, because ultimately he will start getting some spearman kills. Ares have cut spears here momentarily, be able to get age 2 on the way. Smiga's already got the faster age 2, and he is going to go for the 3rd fishing boat here, so he will be able to repair through this. It'll take a while to get another spearman kill or 2, but at least this way you'll have either double the attackers or double the repairers. And yeah, Smiga's able to really get towards that second town centre quite quickly. So 2 on repair at the moment by the looks of it. So Ares not sending any more for the moment. Ooh, Smiga should probably just cancel this and go straight for the trireme, because if he can get the trireme out now, he can secure this. He's got 3 fishing boats. It really isn't going to take too much longer to pay off. If Ares can finish this and get his age up in, it gets a lot scarier for Smiga, because then Ares can start focusing down the dock while also having the warship here in play. He's actually gone for a 2nd dock in the meanwhile. So he's delayed his town centre a bit. He's only going to start going for it now. But it'll be worth it here, I think, because Greeks particularly when you start playing around your barracks. It's very food heavy economy for Age 2. And he's actually got the faster warship here. Smiga wasn't aware of this, so this will be tough because, like I said, you know, Ares can focus the dock with the spears. He can distract the fishing ships with his boat, and then also start getting some more. Smiga will be behind on ships. So Smiga's trying to micro well that there. He's getting his second TC at this stage. So it's a real tough spot to be in. He needs to macro perfectly through this while trying to minimize all the damage Ares deals here. He's just fishing, he's not repairing at this stage, so this could be tough. He's going to try and repair through now, but it'll be easy for Ares to snipe boats here. Ares, his trireme is going to go down fast, but he can always kill off another. If he gets these boats, Smiga's going to have to try and secure water somewhere, because Ares in the meanwhile is, you know, starting to fish elsewhere. It's all the fishing boats down. The dock falls. So Smiga will be able to keep chipping away at this dock, but Ares can always queue up another trireme, or even just go straight to Age 3. He's not far off getting that town center. He's banking a little bit of wood at the moment. Forcing a lot of villagers to throw that town center up. Ares has been on 1 TC a lot longer than Smiga here. But populations for Eco are pretty much even at this point. So he does have that dock there. He's going to get a third dock. He's sort of fine for the moment to just leave this here. He can see all the fishing, all the fish, so he knows Smiga's not gathering from here either. And yeah, he's going for that quick Age 3. Or semi-quick Age 3. Very, very macro-y. Smiga's really only just started pivoting towards getting some land army now. So by the time this hits in, you know, Ares can just get a fire ship, which ultimately costs him less resources than a trireme. It's 250 versus 200. So if he gets that fire ship out, he kills the trireme. He's got the Age 3 quicker than his opponent, so he's a bit scarier on the water there. 1-to-1. And he can just start fishing again. So Smiga's going to go for this other lake over at the bottom. And what's he doing here? Got a lot of guys on wood for the moment. I have to ramp up that fishing eco. Try and secure this, but Ares, that Age 3 would be a tough sell trying to fight trireme or warship into counter ship. Ares right now is really only just starting land production. So Smiga's got the advantage on the land in a sense with that. Because, I mean, Ares really only has spears and Smiga's got slingers and axes. He's gonna go for it again. Taking Spear Champ, which is... What's Spear Champ give? Doesn't it give, like, armor and snare? I'll have to double check that. I've forgotten off the top of my head. See, this is the problem with everything all having unique stats, is it's hard to remember every single champion upgrade. Especially after a break. So the fire ship thinning out the numbers there. At least attempting to. So Smiga's invested in the second dock. But depending on how Ares micros this, he could just, you know, kill a warship and then kill the dock. Smiga gonna go for Age 3, getting that Temple of Set. Looks like he's forced Ares out. So the Spearman count's getting lower and lower. But once again, it's getting ample value. Although, Oh, Smiga's pop capped at the moment. That's not ideal, but he's finishing off some houses. And Ares also, I think, was momentarily pop capped there, but he's got his third town center now. And he's actually thrown down some houses now he doesn't need. Overqueued some villages. Smiga's got plenty in the bank, actually. And he has his age 3 already on the way, so I expect a lot of spending. He'll probably even throw down some more production, because he's only got 2 barracks, 1 stable, so he could really throw down an armory, maybe another stables, or another barracks. He's actually banking quite a bit of wood right now. He does hold on to the water, because bearing in mind now, Ares is on 2 ponds, and is sort of denied this one from Smiga twice now. Things are settling down a little bit, but work accounts at 59 to 52 in favor of Ares, and he does have fishing advantage, which is always big. But are these guys all fishing? I don't know if that one's actually fishing. Oh no, he is. It's hard to tell there how they were stacked up. I couldn't see the nets, bro. Can you make it more obvious? Alright, so Smiga's, yeah, adding some more production now. 2 more stables, another barracks. We're sitting on a bit of wood there for a while. Bearing in mind, Smiga has taken a break since before the gather rate change got reverted. So he's used to a slower economy than what we're playing on. So I was actually really impressed with how cleanly he macroed up and took apart FF and EZ last game. But Ares is a whole nother kettle of fish. He's a very interesting opponent to come up against. Very solid. Mixed compositions. Very hard to deal with. And some civs he tends to really rely on raiding. Some civs he really doesn't tend to care or worry too much about it. Play a very straight up one army, it's hard to deal with type composition, which is probably a way to approach the game. No point being like a one-trick pony on all civs, because you're sort of not playing to civ's strengths then. Like Greeks is a very good civ for not really worrying too much about cavalry, other than in very specific instances where you can get, you know, Saris in age 2 or Prodromos at age 3, and a matchup like this one, it's a really tough sell unless you're up against someone that genuinely likes playing around slingers, which is pretty rare, except for when slingers are OP, because they either are useless or they're an unstoppable death ball by their nature, being a counter ranged unit. Cavalry, camels out the map here for Smiga. He's got that champion upgrade, which will be very handy. He's got a couple of chariots. Like last game, he hasn't really invested a huge amount in those. He's got mostly axemen. Defensive fortress. Ares is sort of built towards Smiga in a sense here. Just kind of nice because he can go for a market line that's very secure, easy to wall off and protect with the rest of your whole base. So populations, Ares 93 bills to Smiga's 60. Smiga's really cut eco here. Maybe a tad too early. He really only likes getting about that 70 village account and then having a nice big army. Something Ares actually does to me a bit, because I tend to quite like racing to 95 eco pop with him. Smiga's score's starting to dip a bit here. So I think he might have been best off, yeah, getting maybe another 5, maybe even 10 villages here. Because Ares is all the way up at 95, and it's a big map, and now Ares is really going to start making investments in Prodromos, hit and runs. Otherwise just having a big death ball. And I mean, Smiga would have, or does have the population, like the army size advantage, in a sense, because his opponent's got so much more eco. But he needs to strike quickly. He can't really sit around and let Ares get age 4 here. And I mean, Ares basically doesn't need to gather any more food for the next 5 minutes. Unless something drastic goes down and, you know, they exchange armies. Camel getting converted there. It's rough for Smiga losing all of that. Probably not how he wanted to take that. Because ideally he would have been just, you know, unsettling Ares here, forcing all these guys to run. Because then every second that these guys aren't gathering, like if he can disrupt that whole 25 villages, that's 25 resources a second or more that your opponent's not getting. Which is pretty big. But yeah, Ares has managed to sneak in age 4 here. And yeah, I think Smiga cutting villages at 66 pop was perhaps a little too greedy. Without mounting some sort of push here. Because there was just like a moment there where he's sitting like 150 pop and just not really making anything. He was getting a lot of upgrades. He got a shitload of upgrades and it was a really impressive thing to see, but I do think when those camels had those Prodromos chasing him, I think he might have been best off trying to actually just take the fight. As well as, you know, yeah, get maybe 5 more villages there. Just because you want to be fighting at max pop. Ares, age 4 now, and it's going to be tough, because Smiga's now going to have to try and get to age 4. He's lost a couple of houses here, so this is a nice little raid here from Ares. This will slow down Smiga, because he can't get all the way up to 180 pop when he's trying to push out and take this fight. You know, even though Ares has got, what's that, 16 pop, he would have had 20 pop worth of units locked up there, not fighting here. And yeah, Ares has got the smaller army, but it's very ranged oriented. He's got a few priests to try and convert the Ellies, a lot of Peltus and Toxotes just to try and clean up basically everything that's not camels. He can deal with really easily. He's got a few hoplites in the mix, just enough to buy that range some time while he splits his army and gets the damage off, tries to convert a few Ellies or snipe all these chariots. This is a tough comp for Smiga to fight into, but at the same time he is forcing Ares to really have to split up those ranged units. The moment the War Ellies can get on top of anything is when it gets really painful. Prodromos, in the meanwhile, Ares is getting a bit of damage done. Smiga is still only on about 65 eco pop to Ares, 89 now. Smiga tapping out there. That fight, I don't think it really went as well as he was hoping there. And he was just starting to get a bit restricted around the map, I think. He's aware Ares has got really good vision. It's starting to take a bit of a lead on upgrades and stuff. Yeah, Smiga was just struggling to get the food to go age 4 there. Committing to that, it was basically commit to that or commit to more army and then have to take another fight at a disadvantage, I think. So GG there. Well played. This time that eco cut not really working out for Smiga, and I think if he had have got up to about 70, maybe even 75, a little bit quicker there, I think he would have been right to try and ride that out, maybe even take that fight a minute earlier. And I think that could have been possibly a different story there, but Ares, once again, phenomenal macro.